Welcome back to Steel and Vance. We're hitting back on a topic that you and I know all too well. We're talking about Alzheimer's, but this time, early onset Alzheimer's.
A lot of people are afraid of that, especially if you've walked the dementia journey with, a loved one, a senior in the family. It's so much more devastating, I think, when somebody's young and vigorous and you think they've got, decades to go to enjoy their lives. Well, our next guest has a really interesting personal story that's important to tell.
Geoffrey Bird is here, and we could talk about your creative background, you as an instructor at BCIT, but you're a photographer today here for the purposes of your story. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm excited to share. It's been a really interesting journey, and I've been fortunate enough to have some creative skills that I can bring it to life and make it meaningful for people.
Let's go to the beginning and talk about your wife was diagnosed. And how did that sort of manifest itself in the beginning? When did you think, oh, something's going on?
Yeah, definitely some issues around memory and recall, different events around the household. We took a trip to Italy and there were some signs on a drive across Tuscany. Late in the week, we'd been there for about 5 or 6 days, and as we're going through the countryside, it's like, oh, we should go to that town. Oh, we should go to that town. And it's like, we did. We've been to all of those towns. So that was the first real concern. She was having some issues at work, and that was, I think, the first stage of some cognitive challenge that she would have been having.
So then you get to the point where this is happening. What was that moment for you as a loved one? You want to protect, you want to deflect. It can't be happening to us. Like that happens to most of us.
Yeah, I think because we were at an equal age level, that it was very collaborative in how we approached it. That as she was seeking medical advice, I was there along to support, and so there was a lot of collective work getting that done. Where it really hit home was when the doctor did tell her to stop driving, and that was really a decisive moment in the experience. That it was now about giving up her freedom. It was a loss of independence for her, and it was a real struggle. And I had been through that with my father 2 or 3 years prior to that, so really aware of what that change would mean.
And how did you then create the project STOLENCARS.CA and this photography journey? Yeah,
so a little over a year ago, I started a master's in photography through a part-time online program out of Falmouth University in the UK. So I had this project, and I wanted to do something around Alzheimer's. I wasn't sure how to give it the real visual context that it needed, and I remembered this experience with my wife and having to give up the keys, and I thought, well, maybe there's something there. We still had her car. We've had it as part of our household for the last 3 years. I thought it could be part of an interesting story to tell. So I took a few pictures, and then I remembered a Financial Post article that talked about the most stolen cars in Canada, and the number one was the Honda CR-V, which is the one my wife bought just shortly before she was told that she should give up driving. So I kind of put those two together, and I thought, well, this is interesting. I now have an interesting narrative. I got to do something with it. And I first thought of putting a poster together and sharing a poster, but then, well, the poster needed to take people somewhere, so I set up a website, and from there set up a couple of visual or photo series and a donation page as well.
There's like some guerrilla marketing going on here.
Absolutely, yeah.
It is showing up in places and spaces, and it's brilliant, honestly, Geoffrey. It is so brilliant. We're just showing a couple of your photos here. Your wife in the passenger seat. It gives me goosebumps looking at these photos. You're definitely hitting that emotional core for those of us who have had loved ones who have been going through this. Summer haunting. It's also beautiful. And you had done a photo book prior to Stolen Flowers for my wife, which is spectacular. So you're kind of on this journey. What's the ultimate goal in adding that awareness piece to Alzheimer's Society of BC?
Well, there's definitely a big factor of awareness that I want to celebrate in this, but I'm also collaborating with my wife on all of these projects, and that's been, I think, one of the best parts of it, that we're still sharing in this, we're still working together. She's stimulated and excited about some of the parts of the project that she's had a hand in, and it's just a way for me to be inclusive in the work I'm putting together. So yeah, I definitely want to see that happen. I want to get some attention to the increase in the numbers that we're seeing. I think Alzheimer's Society of Canada is predicting that for early onset, there's as much as 29,000 Canadians with early onset, so that's before 65, and that'll by 2050 get to about 40,000.
Oh boy.
So it's pretty significant. And then you look at numbers for our parents. There's 733,000 people with some stage of dementia, whether it's Alzheimer's or another form of dementia.
How are you doing as a caregiver?
I'm doing well. I think having these projects keeps me active, keeps me going. Great support, friends, family, all playing a part. So
And a legacy project for the future.
Absolutely. That's what I'm really excited about, and been really pleased with the outcome and the reception of it. It's been really.
Is there a
really
fundraising
rewarding.
component at all?
Yeah. So the book I sold out, and I was taking some of the profits to donate to Alzheimer's Society of Canada. With the website STOLENCARS.CA, there is a donation page. There's a link to Alzheimer's Society of BC, and I've set up a page there for fundraising page. We're at about $1,700 now. It's, I think, early on. I'm going to try to keep it going
Let's
for
get
a little
that
while
number
longer,
up, everybody.
And hopefully
go.
get numbers up for that.
Yeah, well, good for you. I mean, it's important, and if your life hasn't been touched by it, odds are it will be in the future.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in.
Wonderful.
Big
And good luck with it.
Thank you very much.
Big
Thank
lessons
you.
to take where you are and connect with it and be present in the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, that's certainly part of the journey.
Wonderful.
I love
Thank you
this.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for turning something so difficult into something beautiful. You should go to STOLENCARS.CA for more from Geoffrey Bird. Beautiful.
Still ahead, heads up, hockey fans. Something really fishy is going on in Nashville. What the hell is wrong with people?
Don't do it!
Yo, it's coming up next.
Oh my
Yuck.
goodness. Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. Let's distract. Viewing party. Rick and Nancy in Parksville, you're on the show. Oh, look,
Oh,
Linda.
hey, there's something for all of us here.
Dear.
Tina in Coquitlam, thanks for watching.
Tina's got it down. Old school Canucks. Maureen in Vancouver. Hi there.
And Lucy in Saanich, thanks for sending in the photos.
Viewing party at CHEKmedia.ca is how you enter. Just send us your photo watching us and tell us where you're watching from, and you'll be entered. It's as easy as that. We're back in a moment.